Hi dolls! Today I'm back with another Barbie Let's Read video. This is going to be a little series in itself because I'm going to be reading Barbie Fairytopia and then I'm going to read Mermaidia and Magic of the Rainbow. I found all three of these in a lot together for very cheap on eBay, and of course I just had to get them. I really like them. They are smaller, obviously, than the other Barbie books I read. They are quite little, but I kind of like that. Definitely gives me more room to display them up on my shelf. And yeah, they're just something a little different and I do really like them. And as you can see, these books take the pictures straight from the movie. So they're not the usual art style that we see in the other Barbie books I've read, the painting style, but I still really like it, something a little bit different, and these books are still very nice. I really love them. So yes, I'm very excited to start a little series within a series, I guess, of Let's Read with all Fairytopia books. And what's really cool about this is that it is springtime here in Australia, and Fairytopia always makes me think of the spring, I guess because it's always spring in Fairytopia, and I always watch the Fairytopia movies in the spring, so yes, I think it's very appropriate that I do this little series now while it's spring. And of course I'm going to be starting with Fairytopia today. But yes, I'll quickly show you the book before we get started. Here's the front and the back, and on the inside they have this really pretty pattern of butterflies at the front and the back. They all have a pattern in the front and the back like this, except for its difference. With Fairytopia it's butterflies, Mermaidia and Magic of the Rainbow have something different, which I think is a really nice touch. So let's get into Fairytopia. Oh, and another thing very quickly before I start, the book does start off with the same intro as the movie, with the Enchantress speaking it, and it's the same intro we have heard many times if you've watched Fairytopia a lot, and I think it's going to be very hard for me to read this in my own voice and not in the Enchantress voice. You know how it goes. Just over the rainbow, from the world we know, lies Fairytopia. You cannot say that in your own voice, you have to try to sound like the Enchantress. So anyway, I just got that out, so I'll continue reading it in my own voice. Just over the rainbow, from the world we know, lies Fairytopia. In this magical place, fairies frolic among the flowers, chasing each other and diving through the air. But one fairy is very different from the rest. Elina is the only fairy in Fairytopia without wings. Elina can't fly, but she moves so well you would barely notice as she chases her friend Dandelion. Elina jumps from leaf to leaf, slides down petals and swings on vines, while Dandelion soars through the air with her beautiful wings. Elina wishes she had wings too. Bibble, Elina's puffball, knows just what she is thinking as Elina watches the fairies fly in the sky. He floats up next to her face and purrs in Elina's ear to comfort her. At that moment, a group of pretty pixies flutter over. "What do you call a fairy without wings?" asked the first pixie. "I don't know. What?" asked the second pixie. "Nothing," replies the first pixie. "Who would want to call a wingless fairy?" The pixies laugh so hard that they turn somersaults in mid-air. "Don't let them get to you, Elina," says Dandelion, spreading her wings to block the pixies. "Hey," said the first pixie, "we came to tell you that Topaz has been kidnapped." "Kidnapped? Oh no!" cries Elina, looking at her friends. "Wait, why are you telling us this?" "Look, just because we make fun of you, that doesn't mean we want to see you kidnapped by Laverna too," says a third pixie. "We're going home, where it's safe," says the first pixie, and the pixies fly away. Elina and Dandelion can't believe what they've just heard. Topaz is the guardian of the magic meadow. Without her, the meadow isn't safe from the wicked fairy Laverna. Elina and Dandelion look around the meadow nervously. All the other fairies have left too. The flowers in the meadow are fading and their petals are beginning to droop. "The flowers are sick," said Dandelion, "and I've noticed some of the fairies are having trouble flying." Elina and Dandelion must find another guardian fairy who can help them. The closest guardian fairy is Azura, who lives all the way over in Fairy Town. But now Dandelion is feeling the sickness too. She is too weak to fly and she's not used to walking, so Elina and Bibble must travel to Azura's house without her. Elina and Bibble begin their journey. They wander through parts of Fairytopia that they have never been to before, until they finally reach Fairy Town. Far from Elina and Bibble in the wildering woods, the wicked fairy Laverna has indeed captured Topaz. In fact, she has kidnapped all the guardian fairies except Azura. "Now, as soon as Azura arrives, you will all be together to watch me take over Fairytopia," purrs Laverna. "You will never take over Fairytopia," says Topaz. "The fairies are loyal to the Enchantress. She's the queen of Fairytopia." And Laverna shows the guardian fairies a vat full of an odious green potion. "At this very moment, my firebirds are spreading this potion all over Fairytopia, causing a sickness that makes the fairies too weak to fly," explains Laverna. "And I am the only one who can help them, not the Enchantress. All of Fairytopia will love me for it and make me their queen." "The Enchantress will never let you get away with it," cries Topaz. "Ah, the Enchantress, my dear sister," sighs Laverna. And with that, Laverna creates a hologram of the Enchantress, which shows her lying motionless on a crystal bed. "Oh no," cries Topaz. "She's not dead, just sleeping," replies Laverna. "I slipped some of my potion in her buttercup milk, so it looks like you'll be living under my rule forever." Meanwhile, Elina and Bibble have arrived safely at Azura's cottage. "Please sit down," says Azura, leading them to a table. "You must be thirsty." Azura claps and the flower cups are magically filled with nectar. "Our guardian has been kidnapped from the magic meadow," says Elina, "and our fairies can't fly and the flowers are fading. I didn't know where else to go." Azura is horrified. There is only one thing she can do. She will go to Laverna's lair herself. But first she takes off her butterfly necklace and puts it around Elina's neck. "I want my necklace to stay safe," says Azura, "and this is a dangerous trip." With that, Azura flies out the window, only to come face to face with Laverna's servants, the evil fungus. She struggles against them, but it's no use. The fungus kidnap Azura and take her to Laverna. Poor Elina watches in horror. Now it's up to Elina to reach Laverna's lair in time to save the guardian fairies. But walking takes so long. Suddenly, a shadow falls over her. It's a giant butterfly. "Who are you?" asks Elina. "I am Azura's friend, Hugh," replies the giant butterfly. "I'll take you where you want to go." Elina and Bibble hop onto Hugh's back and fly high over Fairytopia towards Laverna's lair. "We're flying, Bibble!" exclaims Elina. "We're really flying!" After a while, they realize that they are being followed by Laverna's firebirds. One firebird is very close and his jaws are wide open and his teeth barred. "Ah!" they all scream together. "Ah!" they all scream together. "Hold on, everybody," says Hugh as he nosedives down a waterfall and zooms into a small cove. Safely inside the cove, Elina, Hugh and Bibble meet some friendly merpeople. Prince Nalu, a merman, explains the firebirds are waiting for them just beyond the waterfall. The only safe way out of the cove is to swim a long way underwater. "Eat this," says Prince Nalu. "It's a special type of seaweed that lets you breathe underwater. Hugh, Elina and Bibble don't want to eat the sticky green seaweed, but they force some into their mouths and then plunge into the sea. Prince Nalu guides them through a deep sea cavern. They are amazed that the seaweed really works. When they arrive at a safe place, Elina sweetly thanks the prince. "I wanted to help," says Prince Nalu, taken by Elina's beauty. The two stare into each other's eyes. We need to go," says Hugh. "I hope we'll meet again," says Prince Nalu as he swims away. Elina looks after him dreamily. Then Bibble and Elina climb aboard Hugh and they take off into the blue sky. Meanwhile, in Laverna's lair, the fungus deliver their prisoner, Azura, the last of the guardian fairies. Now Laverna can finally carry out her evil plan. "Ah, Azura!" cries Laverna. "I was just about to explain how when I get the final necklace, I'll be able to suck the power from all of the necklaces and keep it for myself." But when Laverna looks for Azura's necklace, it isn't there. "Where is your necklace?" screams Laverna furiously. Azura refuses to answer, but a fungus claims he saw the necklace on a wingless fairy. "Bring her to me immediately," commands Laverna. Just outside the lair, Hugh has caught the sickness, so Bibble stays behind to care for him. Elina continues alone. In no time, the fungus are all around her, but Elina cleverly hides behind the giant leaves. Elina finally makes it safely to Laverna's lair. She peeks into the throne room and discovers all the guardian fairies sitting in a circle, bound with ropes. Laverna is showing them the unifying crystal, which she created to absorb the power from their necklaces. The necklaces start to glow and create a rainbow of light as Laverna sucks away the fairies' power. Suddenly, Elina runs into the room. "Let my friends go, Laverna," she cries. "Ah, the wingless fairy," says Laverna. "I'll be happy to let them go, if you give me Azura's necklace." "Never," says Elina. Laverna flings a stream of light towards Elina, and it turns into phantom wings on her back. "I can give you wings if you join me," says Laverna. If Elina puts the necklace around Azura's neck, the blue gem will be added to the rainbow, and then Laverna will rule Fairytopia forever. Suddenly, Elina looks hypnotized and begins to follow Laverna's orders. She removes the butterfly necklace and moves towards Azura. "Try to wake up, Elina," cries Azura desperately, but Elina doesn't listen and keeps moving forward. She lifts the necklace to place it around Azura's neck. "Yes!" cries Laverna, but suddenly Elina looks up and notices the unifying crystal. She snaps out of her trance-like state and hurls Azura's necklace across the room, knocking the crystal to the floor. "No!" cries Laverna. The crystal shatters and all the rainbow lights return to the fairies' necklaces. Laverna is wrapped up in a swirl of rainbow light. It begins to turn black and Laverna disappears. The moment she is gone, the guardian fairies are set free and Elina's phantom wings disappear. Everyone is so grateful to Elina. She has saved the guardian fairies and Fairytopia too. "I knew you could do it," cries Azura. Suddenly, a swirl of rainbow light appears and turns into the beautiful form of the Enchantress, the Queen of Fairytopia. "The Enchantress!" gasps Hugh. He bows immediately and the others follow suit, but the Enchantress just smiles. "I've come to thank all of you for your bravery," she says. "Oh, thank you, but we just did what we had to do," says Elina. "We weren't trying to be heroes." "But you are," says the Enchantress. "Especially you, Elina, and I want to thank you. You have earned a great gift." And she places a butterfly necklace around Elina's neck. "Thank you, Elina," says the Enchantress as she disappears into a rainbow swirl. Suddenly, the necklace glows and turns into a swirl of rainbow colors. The whirling colors turn into real wings on Elina's back. Elina looks at the wings over her shoulders and gasps. "I have wings!" she cries. Elina takes a deep breath and jumps into the air and flies. I'm flying! Everyone leaps joyfully into the air to celebrate Elina's new wings. The enchantress has returned Magic Meadow to health again, with all the flowers in full bloom, and the fairies laughing and playing high in the sky. But one fairy flies especially high and laughs especially loud. Elina, a true fairy, at last. And that is the end of Barbie Fairytopia. Thank you all for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one and will enjoy this Fairytopia series as much as I do. Stay tuned for Mermaidia coming up next, and I will see you in our next video. Peace!